start video time. This is a video that just kind of gives you an overview of how to get to stuff on the engine of a Promaster. As you can see, Promaster. This one has a brush guard, doesn't bother me. So you don't have to do this, but I take the grill apart and I take the core support out, or I guess you'd call it the radiator core support or the bulkhead. There's a lot of different ways to call it. But anyway, when we do anything serious inside the engine, not because you have to, just because it's kind of a finagle if you don't. There's a lot of stuff that's wrapped under this cowl. In this case, I'm doing a rocker arm job, and you need to get to these two brackets here. Here, look, I have light. You need to get to these two brackets here to get the intake off generally. Not totally. If you want to take the intake off, you can remove the rear triangle bracket and the thing will come out, but it's just easier. And to get the valve cover off, I definitely have to get these brackets loose. And to get to those bolts and do all that stuff, it's just easier if I don't have this in my way. If I didn't have this brush guard in my way, I can also get in quite close here and lean. Oh, I'm leaning in. Oh, I'm all the way over the top. That's exciting. But the procedure to do so, it looks daunting, but it is not. So the T25 screws take these trim pieces out. This piece pops off. Couple of, four 12 or 10 millimeter bolts hold the core support, which is, as you can see, is right there. Hold that on. But the real secret to this whole thing is up here at the top. This oval fresh air intake, it looks like it's a intake for the engine. Oh, and also you remove the bottle with one 12 millimeter bolt from the core support and just set it out of the way. This is the hood hinge, which also comes off with three 10 millimeter bolts. Not too tough. And I actually paint, because I'm smart, or at least I'm smarter than I look. When I take the hood hinge off, there, I put a paint mark there on the side, which puts a paint mark on here, right there, so I know what cable tension I had. But the secret to this whole thing is to take this oval out, because then that opens up the whole world of room that you can get in here and do fine. The oval thing, which is right there with the intake sitting in it, is a fairly simple affair, although it can be kind of finicky. Ooh, I could set the light down and not have to handle it the whole time. There's a 10 here and a 10 here that hold it in. Once you take the fresh air filter, or the cabin air filter out, which is two Phillips screws that come down from the top, and those can be kind of a pain because it's blocked by the cowl piece here. Okay, short topic today for you salty little ball garglers. Let's say you're trying to get the cabin air filter out, but you can't because there's two little screws, little Phillips screws. Little Phillips screws, one's there that hold the cabin air filter in. You can see their screw heads dangling down. And you go to get your stubby in there, and I can't because it's blocked by the cowl. And then you go with a normal screwdriver of any length. This length is about right. And you're like, oh, I can, but this is too small. Blah, blah, blah. After fighting with this for many years, the solution has turned out to be, after fighting with this, the solution has turned out to be to remove this, which comes out with two 10 millimeter bolts, the grill up here. Oh, for God's sake. Telling me I can't even make an instructional video without having to struggle? I had already taken the one side of the bolt out, slide that over. Now your screwdriver fits up inside and you can get down there like a human. Isn't that a hot tip? Aren't you warm and fuzzy over that? God damn, I'm happy to share that information with you. Love you! This cowl piece is loose, but you'll just have to loosen this screw. If you're doing the other side, you can see. You loosen that screw and then you can push the cowl piece up and get that bolt out because they come down from the top on both sides. This also retains the washer fill. But to get the oval out, behind there's three 10s in here, and there's one way up in the corner that's outside the box that you need a big extension for. But that thing comes out, and this is the water drainage tube for same. Once that comes out, as you can see, tons of room to work on anything you might have to work on. The cooler, the intake, the plugs and coils, whatever you need to do. Or the rocker arms in this case. And the air filter can stay in, although the hoses have to come off of it. And when I do this valve cover, I have taken the front coolant hose, which is called the heater supply hose or heater return hose, I forget. But I've taken it loose and the valve cover will come out. Not too bad. Is there anything else to say about this? Not really. All the things that are attached to the top of the manifold, the evap pump and the map sensor and the intake air temp sensor, they just kind of fold out of the way and seat themselves over there. And then, I mean, this thing's as easy as working on a Plymouth from 1970. Plenty of access to everything, including the crankshaft bolt. You can get to it from the top if you really want to. All right, well, what have we learned? I've learned that if you're going to do stuff, removing that oval air intake makes working on the Promaster quite easy. And as I say, I don't know if you can see here, but if this brush guard was gone, which I could unbolt it, but I'm just too lazy, you can get your whole body in there. And getting good at taking this core support out allows you super easy access to the radiator and the condenser and the fan module. When you do the fan module, if you want to do it from the top, you have to do it like this. But then it's really easy to get to. Everything's right there and right there. So what have we learned? All of it. I learned a lot.